everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Tigo, and today we're going to do a little bit of acting. We're going to welcome Micael Forsch to the show. He went from child actor to independent film producer, and he wore so many hats in between. He's a dancer, a producer, an actor. He's even did a bit of comedy. So sit right there. We'll be right back. Hey, Micael, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
It's my pleasure.
You know, I read your bio, and man, talk about somebody who understands the business of Hollywood, but also has worn many hats in the business of Hollywood. You understand the reason, or I shouldn't say the reason, but the ability to change when you need to, because you've done acting, production, comedy. First, I'm going to ask what your passion is.
My passion is performing arts. So I love being on stage. I love being in front of camera. That's the main reason why I do what I do. I just found myself wanting to do more, and the best way to do that was to create it myself. So that's kind of where I've been the last couple of years.
But you didn't start by creating yourself. You actually started as a quote unquote child actor.
Yeah, there's that fun term. It wasn't so bad for me. I would just came home a couple times from school and was like, Mom, they want me to be in a music video. Mom, they want me to be in a little short film. And so my mom was like, well, I guess we'll, put you out there and put you on the audition front. So she kind of was my momager for a little while. And I did a couple of work on a few of the TV shows like 30 something. I'm from Los Angeles originally, grew up in the San Fernando Valley boy. And did the whole Hollywood thing. I have a lot of friends that are still acting around in Hollywood. And then kind of got into musical theater when I was a teenager. And that kind of just took over my passion for performing arts. And I started doing that professionally at 18. And that eventually led to bring me back to Vegas. So been doing that for the past 22 years.
Wow. But okay, so you said you got into musical theater. So I know you've done comedy.
Yes.
Now you're talking about musical theater. So you sing, you dance.
Yes.
Talk to me.
I originally moved here from Vegas in 2006 for a show, and it was called Shag with a Twist, which is a dance musical that was based on the art of Josh Agel, aka Shag. So it was very interesting, very like artsy, independent kind of little show that lasted for a while. And from there, I went to Jubilee, and I worked professionally in Jubilee for about 7.5 years. And then after leaving Jubilee, I kind of just branched out into my own, started doing more film locally here in Vegas, and kind of been doing that since.
So tell me about doing a bigger show like a Jubilee show, and then getting into something smaller. What's the difference? Meaning, do you feel the difference like in a budget? Do you feel it? Do you have to do more? You go, oh my God, I don't have the crew. I don't have the PA. What do you mean I have to do my own makeup? Do you feel that? And is it more flexibility as an independent? How does that work?
So Jubilee was a huge privilege to be a part of. It was the longest running showgirl show in Las Vegas for 36 years. And I was happy to be a part of it for 7. It was just a kind of this monster operation with over 80 performers and over 100 stagehands and crew. It was just amazing machine that just kept moving. They're like, well, it ain't broke, don't fix it, until they tried to fix it and failed. But that's another story for another day. But it was a total honor to work for Jubilee. And I definitely say it was some of the best times of my life. I did meet my wife working there, so that was amazing. And kind of branching out into a smaller production and working in as an independent, it's much more you know, you're less of a cog. So at Jubilee, I would show up. I knew exactly what I was doing, and I just did what I was told and got to work, and that was it. And then I was done. When you're working as an independent, you basically never stop working. So it's like, especially if you're producing your own material, doing everything, it's you know, I'm just constantly working on it day and night. I'll be sleeping in the middle of the night, wake up, oh, I got to do that, or fix this, or I have an idea for this. I love it. I love it. I think it's a little bit of an addicting, being in control of your own projects, your own film projects, and making sure that it's done the way you want to. I find myself sometimes being like, oh man, I hope that, you know, I will be able to give this job to somebody else and just like hand it over and just focus on less things and not be so controlling when I don't
But
have
can
to.
you? Because I have a hard time with that. Because I've you know worked on my own projects, have been independent for 20 years or so, and then when you do have a budget and you can bring people in, and it's almost like you're giving up a baby. You know, be very careful with this. Don't go too far. So can you give that baby away and say go ahead and go do that, or do you find yourself beating yourself up trying not to micromanage? You know what I mean?
I find it hard. I've learned how to do it, and that I'm still involved doing, you know, I'll work on other people's productions as an actor, because that's my main focus, is I want to be in front of camera. So I find myself like, oh gosh, okay, I'll just let the director, let the producers handle it. I kind of have to stop myself sometimes, you know, when I see things and I'm like, well, I would do that differently, but it's not my production. And when I have had the opportunity to delegate, I love it. Especially things that I'm really not super good at. Like I'm not a big fan of doing wardrobe. I'm not a big fan of doing production design. That's just not where my, you know, where my vision normally goes out. I can do it, and I have done it, but I would much rather give that to some of my co-producers and stuff and be like, okay, just tell me when it's done and I can say yes or no. Because that's so much easier to me. And ideally, I would love to not have any of those hats and either just direct, just produce, just act. That would be my ideal scene.
So you don't think you'd be bored if you had just a production gig or just a directing gig? You don't think you would sit there and go, oh my gosh, I got to do something else?
I don't know. I probably would be bored, but also I feel like I have a lot more gray hair than I used to from doing my own
That happens with
production.
age, honey. Just get to my age. You'll find out it just happens with age. And then when you're going through, because we're not even going to pretend, we'll get into the whole, you know, COVID, what's going on right now with COVID-19. We'll get into that. But when you get into that, my hairstylist won't even see me. So in a couple of weeks from now, this will be all gray. So it just happens. So let's talk about education for a second. Did you get
Sure.
professionally, did you go to college for this? Or did you learn this on the job? How did you get your expertise? Hi, are you a business owner, an entrepreneur, or starting your own business and wish you had an opportunity to sit down with an expert in your field? Well, check your local listings and watch Expert Talk with Tigo. I'm Tigo, and I'll talk to you very soon.
Here's 4 reasons your business needs to go mobile today. 1. If your site or mobile app is hard to use on a mobile device, you'll drive your customers to your competitors. 61% of people said that they'd quickly move on to another site if they don't find what they're looking for right away. If they don't like what they do find, 79% will look elsewhere. 2. Having a mobile-friendly site can boost your business. 74% of people say that they're more likely to return to a mobile-friendly site in the future. 3. You may not get a second chance. First impressions are powerful and lasting. 46% of people won't return to a website they'd had trouble accessing on a phone, and 57% won't recommend it. 4. Good mobile experiences can drive revenue. 67% of mobile users say that they're more likely to buy a product or use a service offered by a mobile-friendly experience. Create a mobile app and mobile website today and gain an edge over your competition.
I just started working at an early age. So everything's basically on hands-on experience. I've worked all the way from Hollywood TV sets to professional productions. So I never really did like a formal education. Of course, I have lots of training. I have acting training, I have dance training, I have all of that stuff. All of the production side is all hands-on experience just from me being like, well, I've seen other people do it, so I feel like I can figure it out. But at the same time, it's not like, oh, I have no training. I read books, I've taken courses, but I just never did any formal training. Everything I've just learned, either through working on projects or training. To be honest, I feel like the most training I've done in my life is dance training, because that really takes a lot of time to become a professional dancer.
So if someone's watching right now, because I'm sure someone is, and they're dreaming of playing Vegas, playing Hollywood, being in a film, being on a stage in Las Vegas when we open again, because we will open again, and they're going, that's gonna be me, Mom, that's gonna be me. Where would you say they should start? Where would you say, how do you feel about, there's a ton of YouTube videos out there that says, here's how you do this. How do you feel about all of that?
I think that creating your own platform, creating your own material, your own content is the only way to get things done. A lot about this business is, networking, and a lot of it is also, being in the right place at the right time. Mm-hmm. A lot of that isn't going to happen if all you do is sit on your butt on the couch and be like, I'm an actor, but you haven't done anything. So
you're acting as an actor.
You're acting.
Okay.
But I feel like if you want to be an actor, then go write a TV show for yourself. There's so many ways that you can put your own content on YouTube. You can even put your own content on Amazon Prime if you do it right.
Wow.
That's, to me, the best way to be seen is if you produce something that is really good. I'm telling you right now, and it has happened a ton of times. The studios and Hollywood and all those guys, they have scouts looking for good material. So if you actually produce really good material, it eventually will get seen. And, especially if you gather a huge following, and, all of that stuff is really, really difficult to do. But, the more you do it, the more likely you'll get better at it, and the more likely it is you'll get seen.
So recently we had someone on who's been in the music industry for like 35 years. He's been in management, he's toured with God knows everybody. And he said pretty much the same thing for music artists and performers. He was like, you got to get a following. You need to be putting your material out there. You can't just sit at home on your couch. Nope. And wait for somebody to come and discover you anymore. Nope. You got to be out there. So you're saying the same thing. Those days are gone. You have to be active and pushing your own career now. You can't just sit around and wait for Steven Spielberg to see you inside of the grocery store and say, you're the next star, you're the next Julia Roberts or whatever.
And the funny thing that I've seen about a lot of these people that get quote unquote discovered, they've been in the game already for like 5-10 years. They already have all of their own stuff. And then all of a sudden they're discovered. And it's like, yeah, but then you go and look at their past work on IMDb, or, you know, you look at their resume and they already have a bunch of this stuff. And if you can't make your own stuff, then find people that are making their own stuff and work with them. Be like, hey, how can I help you? I want to be a part of this. I think you're making something great. And, you know, help them create their project so that you can be a part of it as well.
When we started this interview, we were talking about how diverse you are. Yes. And how many different gears you've changed to. Yeah. How did you decide when you were going to change and why you've done what you've done? Because you've done, you know, from child actor to you've actually produced and directed a film or films. So what made you decide to do that?
So after I left Jubilee, I happened to start auditioning for film and got back into that industry again. And I started booking roles as an actor. And after I booked my first feature film, I was like, oh, so this is like what the indie film scene is. Cause I was only used to the scene in Hollywood and how that works. And I was like, I think I understand this a little bit more, and I don't see why, if they can do it, why can't I? And so I just decided that I felt like I had some good ideas and that I could be as organized or more organized than a lot of the indie film producers in town. And so I got together with a company that I liked working with, and we just decided to create one of our ideas. And then that led into, well, that was good. You know, that worked out really well. And we decided, hey, let's make a feature film. And so then we wrote a feature film.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's called The Christmas Cabin. It's available on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it. I produced it and I have a writing credit on it, and we're very, very proud of it.
Have you found anyone for the Mathis Christmas party yet?
Oh, humbug.
Lord have mercy. That boy needs a woman.
Well, city boy, what brings you to these parts?
Apparently I had a great Uncle Larry who left me some property around here.
I'm Seth. Seth Walker.
Samantha Wetley, but everyone calls me Sammy.
You're in the wilderness now, Seth Walker from San Francisco.
How did you?
I rifled through your wallet. What? What if you're crazy?
By any chance, are you related to a Mary Beth Parker?
She's my great-grandmother. She built this cabin.
Well, actually, my great-uncle Larry built this cabin.
You're gonna have to leave.
As soon as we settle on a price.
Who do you think you are? You can't just waltz in here out of the middle of nowhere, flash that adorable grin, and expect me to sell my cabin.
The cute one's always crazy. Look, I know this isn't ideal, but I can't go anywhere until that storm ends.
There. 50-50.
You're being unreasonable.
We've been stuck here for 2 days. We might as well make the best of it. Do you need to go back to work?
No, I'm happy where I'm at right now.
You're telling me you haven't celebrated Christmas in 10 years? No presents?
Nope.
No tree?
No.
I feel like you need an intervention. Work is important, but you have to carve out time for a little holiday fun.
Well, we get out of here for a little bit.
The storm's past, we should have clear skies for a while.
That's great news.
I've really got to get back.
Seth, wait. Would you slow down?
So you're really just gonna leave?
Yes.
Just like that.
Yes, like that.
Just make sure whatever you're leaving for is worth it.
Hey there, sis.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Josh.
Gotta have yourself a merry little Christmas.
You're right. You're so right.
Yes, I am.
It's Christmas. You need to be around the ones you love, and the ones that love you.
You're doing it again.
What?
Smiling.
I can't help it. This is a moment worth smiling about.
And then on top of all of this, you were also in Cirque?
So no, I was never in Cirque.
Okay.
I have a lot of respect for all of my Cirque du Soleil friends, and I've worked with quite a few of them. What I did do is there was a lot of shows probably about 10 years ago. They were like midnight cabarets, and a lot of the Cirque performers in town would get off from their shows, and we would go and perform in these like clown comedy kind of type shows, and actually got a lot of press. It was like one of those hot things to do, like that only locals knew about, where you could go and watch a lot of the Cirque du Soleil performers performing their own material and material that we put up together. So
only cool locals. I've been here for 25 years. I never heard of that.
It was
really cool.
12:30 clown show. I mean, they still have a lot of those late night cabarets and stuff going on. Maybe like once or twice a month. You just have to, you kind of just have to know somebody who's in one to make it happen. But it was kind of like, I feel like you've probably heard of One Drop. So we started doing this, and then I feel like, I don't know, this is completely hearsay, I have no idea, but I know that after we started doing that, and the Cirque casting and all those guys kind of like, oh, that's really cool, maybe we should give a chance for the performers to present something unique and original that's there, coming from them, and not just the show that they do 10 shows a week. So
that's really neat.
That was a starting factor in it, but I do know that we were doing it, and then 4 or 5 years later, Cirque was like, guess what, we're doing our own variety show put on by the artists.
Of course. Of course.
I mean, it's a good idea, and why not? It's for charity, and it's a great cause. Unfortunately it was canceled this year, but I'm sure they'll hopefully
right now the whole city has been canceled.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, right now we're in the middle of this COVID-19, and the whole city is closed, and I could not imagine, I don't think anyone on the planet could imagine that Broadway would be shut down, that Chicago would be closed, that the Strip, Las Vegas Strip, I would think the entire planet would be gone before the Las Vegas Strip would be shut down. And I've driven down there, and it's the weirdest, strangest feeling to drive down there and not see the people and not see the lights. And it is so strange. What's going on with you guys, with the shows, with the cast? How is everybody taking this? What are they doing?
Pretty well connected with a lot of the people in town, and I think everybody's just kind of in the same boat, the sort of wait and see. I know that everybody has a thirst for entertainment, and as soon as things open back up, I feel like it. I feel that we'll be able to provide entertainment again. The people will come back, and things will be okay. Fortunately, the federal government seems to want to be able to help us entertainers, and especially the independent contractors like me, getting unemployment. I feel like that's huge. So that kind of took a load off of me, where I'm like, okay, well, at least I won't have to worry too much if I tighten my belt a little bit and
be able to survive this. Yes.
I feel like most people, a lot of entertainers are trying to find different ways to express their art. So, I see a lot of videos on social media where people are dancing in their house or singing, or,
yeah, watch parties are huge right now.
Yeah. I feel like we're all in this together, and everybody's trying to cope as best they can. At least from my perspective, I feel like everybody's just kind of like, well, we're just going to make the best of it as we can, and stay inside and, social distance, but still try to be creative, and hopefully we can get back to it. Personally, for myself, I'm taking the time to do as much as I can for my current film project, which is called The Eternos, and we're doing online casting right now. And doing as much pre-production as I can, as far as getting the shot list done and everything like that. The budgets, and trying to get wardrobe and all of that. So everything I can do, while following the guidelines, I'm doing. And so it's a good chance for me to just work on my own creative projects where I don't know if I would have this time because I'm usually would have been off doing
Right.
production and all kinds of stuff elsewhere. But there's nothing else going on, so I might as well work on my passion project.
So I just have one more question for you. How are you staying fit with all this? You can't go to the gym, so you're a dancer, your body is pretty much your living. How are you staying in shape during all this?
Well, me and my wife, we walk to the park every day and staying 6 feet away from everybody else, but we do our exercises at the park and, a lot of high intensity interval training, a lot of different, we try to vary our workouts from day to day. And I found it actually, it's pretty nice. She and I just get outside for about 45 minutes. We have a park just down the street. We go and walk and do some exercises and get some fresh air. And it's nice to see that, we have beautiful weather in Las Vegas right now. So, at least that's not taken away from us. We can go do that for now. We don't have a stay at home mandate. So, it's just staying safe and doing, sometimes I've been doing some at home fitness as well, yoga and all that. But that's basically it. Just trying to stay in shape however we can with no gym and no show.
Right. Well, Micael, I thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your knowledge and your experience and your expertise. You are definitely an expert at what you do. I appreciate you. And, Vegas will be back. And I can't wait to see your film. And I hope that when all this is done and your film is done, you'll come back and share it with us and we can help promote it and get the word out about it because you're a pretty cool guy.
So much. I would love to tell you guys about more of my projects. If you want, you can follow me at Micael Forsch on Instagram or at Micael Forsch on Twitter. And be happy to share anything that I'm working on with you guys.
That's awesome. Hey, everybody, you know who I am. I'm Tigo, and I'll talk to you next time.